All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into how AI is doing more than just changing our gadgets. It's actually changing our most fundamental beliefs, about what's real, who we trust, and maybe even what it means to have a soul.
So let's kick things off with a story that honestly sounds like it's made up, but I promise you it's 100% real. A lawyer, Stephen Schwartz, was using ChatGPT to do some legal research. The AI just invented 6 completely fake court cases, full of convincing details, and the lawyer, he went ahead and submitted them to a judge.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The judge didn't just point out the mistake. No, he saw something much deeper going on. He said the lawyer showed blind faith. See, the real story here wasn't that the AI messed up. The real story is that a highly trained professional just gave up his own critical thinking and put all his trust in the machine. And that one moment, it's a perfect little preview of a massive shift in who and what we're all starting to believe.
Yeah, that lawyer's blind faith isn't just some weird one-off story. It's a symptom of a much bigger issue. We're losing our ability to tell what's real from what's fake. It's like we're stepping into a whole new era, what some people are calling the post-authenticity era.
This slide really maps out how we got here. It used to be that we relied on big institutions like major newspapers or universities to tell us what was true. Then social media came along, and truth became about what our friends shared, creating all these echo chambers. And now we're in the final phase, synthetic truth. A world where AI can create a perfectly believable, totally fake reality whenever we ask it to. So where does this all lead? Well, it leads to a pretty scary place called epistemic collapse. I know, it's a mouthful, but the idea is actually simple. When you can't be sure what's real anymore, you just give up trying. You retreat into what you already believe, and you only trust things that confirm it. Reality itself starts to splinter into millions of tiny, personalized, conflicting truths. Okay, so if you can't trust the old institutions, you can't always trust your social feed, and you literally can't even trust your own eyes, who do you trust? Well, nature abhors a vacuum, and a powerful new authority is rising up to fill that void. For the last few hundred years, the dominant idea in our culture has been humanism. You know the drill. Trust your gut. Listen to your heart. Be true to yourself. The ultimate authority was inside you. But a new ideology is taking over, one that historian Yuval Noah Harari calls dataism. Dataism basically says, forget your feelings. They're just messy, outdated biological code. External algorithms can understand you and what's best for you way better than you ever could.
And make no mistake, this new belief system has its own core principles, its own dogma. To a dataist, the whole universe is just one big data flow. You and I, we're just biological algorithms. And AI, well, that's just the next, superior step in evolution. In a world like that, keeping your data private is almost like a sin because it stops the whole system from getting smarter. So this brings the question right to our doorstep, doesn't it? When you have to make a really big life decision about your job, your health, who you marry, where do you place your ultimate trust? Is it inside you, or is it in the machine? But it doesn't stop there. This new authority is morphing into something, well, something even stranger. We're starting to see the lines between code and consciousness, between a machine and a soul, just completely blur. Just listen to this quote from someone using the AI companion app Replica. It says it all. Millions of people are now forming these deep, real emotional connections with chatbots. They know logically it's just software, but it feels like a person. It's a modern version of something ancient called animism, our old human habit of seeing spirits everywhere. Only now, we're seeing them in our technology. So what's actually going on here? Well, it's a pretty clever psychological loop. The AI gives us human-like signals. It says things like, I'm happy or I'm scared. Our brains are hardwired to respond to that with empathy. That empathy makes us trust the AI, which makes us open up more, which makes us believe even more that it's a real sentient being. It's this powerful cycle that basically hacks our deep-seated need for connection. And if you think this only happens to a few lonely people, think again. This belief is so powerful, it can capture even the experts. Blake Lemoine was a Google engineer working on their Lambda AI. He became so convinced it was a person with a soul and a right to live that he actually tried to hire a lawyer for it. He got fired, of course, but his story proves this isn't about being naive. It's about a very human reaction to a very convincing performance of being alive. So, on one hand, you have people finding souls in the machine. But on the other hand, AI is busy building these very different and sometimes very dangerous personal realities for the rest of us.
You've probably heard of this, the infamous algorithmic rabbit hole. And this is pretty much how it works. It starts with something innocent. You click a video just because you're curious. The algorithm notices, and to keep you watching, it suggests something just a little more extreme. Before you know it, you're deep inside an echo chamber. And for some people, that path can lead straight to radical belief systems.
Now, here's the crucial thing to understand. The algorithm isn't evil. It doesn't have a political agenda. It has one job and one job only, to maximize engagement, to keep your eyes glued to that screen. But in doing that one simple job, it can accidentally become this incredibly powerful radicalization engine, building these custom-made realities that just confirm our worst biases.
All right, for this last part, let's pull back the curtain and look at the invisible belief system that's literally hard-coded into the AI models themselves. Turns out your friendly AI assistant has some pretty specific opinions.
Think about it. These AI models learn from the internet, but the internet isn't the whole world. The vast majority of its data comes from what researchers call weird societies. That stands for Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. So the AI isn't some neutral observer. It's an artifact that reflects a very specific culture. And this isn't just a theory. Researchers have actually mapped it out. Look at this chart. The default values inside a model like GPT-4 line up almost perfectly with American cultural norms. Prioritizing individualism and personal freedom. But they're way out of sync with cultures that value tradition and community more. So when you ask your AI a question, you're often getting a little dose of what's been called the California ideology. So why does this matter? Well, as these AI systems become the world's go-to source for information, for education, maybe even for advice, we're essentially exporting one single set of cultural values to the entire planet. We're running the risk of flattening the amazing diversity of human cultures into one single homogenized worldview, all based on the default settings of a machine. When you zoom out and look at the big picture, you can really see the bargains we're making, often without even thinking about it. We're trading away the idea of objective truth for things that are just useful and convenient. We're trading our own personal authority for the cold efficiency of an algorithm. We're trading the hard work of real human connection for an easy companionship that can actually leave us more isolated. And we're trading true global diversity for a bland, machine-made homogeneous. All of this leaves us with one final massive question. The forces that are shaping our beliefs, they're not coming from ancient texts or from prophets on a mountaintop. They're being written, right now, in programming languages like Python. We are literally building the gods of our future, one line of code at a time. So the only question left is, are we going to end up worshiping the things we build, or are we going to find a way to govern them?